All right, we are back for the reading of chapter 2, At Your Command by Neville Goddard. This is the read through and reaction. All right, so let's go. With the story of creation is given us in digest. Wait a second, whoa. If you haven't, check out the website, lovelightlaw.com. Link is in the description. And please like and subscribe if this content is useful, valuable, educational for you. All right, I appreciate it. Okay, starting over. The story of creation is given us in digest form in the first chapter of John. In the beginning was the Word. Now, this very second is the beginning spoken of. It is the beginning of an urge, a desire. The Word is the desire swimming around in your consciousness, seeking embodiment. The urge of itself has no reality, for I am, or the awareness of being, is the only reality. Things live only as long as I am aware of being them. So to realize one's desire, the second line of this first verse of John must be applied. That is, and the Word was with God. The word, or desire, must be fixed or united with consciousness to give it reality. The awareness becomes aware of being the thing desired, thereby nailing itself upon the form of conception, and giving life unto its conception, or resurrecting that which was heretofore a dead or unfulfilled desire. Two shall agree as touching anything, and it shall be established on earth. This agreement is never made between two persons. It is between the awareness and the thing desired. You are not conscious of being, so you are now conscious of being, so you are actually saying to yourself, without using words, I am. Now, if it is a state of health that you are desirous of attaining, before you have any evidence of health in your world, you begin to feel yourself to be healthy. And the very second the feeling I am healthy is attained, the two have agreed. And the very second feeling I am healthy is attained, the two have, And the very second the feeling I am healthy is attained, the two have agreed. That is, I am and health have agreed to be one, and this agreement ever results in the birth of a child, which is the thing agreed upon. In this case, health. And because I made the agreement, I expressed the thing agreed. Okay, pause. So Neville's reinforcing what we covered in the first chapter, which is the I amness. Okay, that's your I am being the conscious awareness of being, and then whatever you put after I am, you become. So he's reinforcing this very fundamental, basic law, which is, again, I'm repeating myself, whatever you put after I am, you become. And he's also reinforcing the perspective, the metaphysical perspective on the Bible, and essentially what the Bible is pointing to and trying to teach us in every scripture is the I amness within all of us, and then what we desire and what we're aiming for is attained through, secondly, the awareness of being that thing. So you might have heard that, nothing neither good nor bad, but thinking makes it so. That's a quote from Shakespeare. It's like energy is neither positive or negative, it's neutral. And then it's whatever we do with it, however we operate with that power or energy. So you can see why Moses stated, I am hath sent me. For what being other than I am could send you into expression? None. For I am the way, beside me there is no other. If you take the wings of the morning and fly into the uttermost parts of the world, or if you make your bed in hell, you will still be aware of being. You are ever sent into expression by your awareness, and your expression is ever that which you are aware of being. Again, Moses stated, I am that I am. Now here is something to always bear in mind. You cannot put new wine in old bottles or new patches upon old garments. That is, you cannot take with you into the new consciousness any part of the old man. All of your present beliefs, fears, and limitations are weights that bind you to your present level of consciousness. If you would transcend this level, you must leave behind all that is now your present self or conception of yourself. To do this, you take your attention away from all that is now your problem or limitation and dwell upon just being. That is, you say silently, but feeling to yourself, I am blank, I would add to that, right? And to just add to what Neville's saying here, if I may, the present self that you're aware of, okay? Let's say for example, you have a desire to start a business, okay? And you've never started a business. And there's many components to operating a business. And you have none of those skills, let's say. You don't know how you would run a business, but you have in your mind the idea of what you could do, and you actually have a mental picture in your mind as well, and you're seeing yourself like in a mental movie having or doing or being this thing. And so with what Neville's saying here, if it were me and that was my goal, that was my vision, then I'd have to embody myself as that end result and just be that. Now, and setting aside the facts that, okay, I've always worked for someone else and I don't understand marketing, or I don't understand accounting, or whatever the reason is, right? Whatever the reason or conditioning is that says to you, oh, well, you can't do that because you rah, rah, rah. Okay, so then he's saying you set that aside, okay? Just forget that and just stand in the possibility or in the full expression of being that vision, that thing that you're holding in your mind's eye. Okay? And then something my mentor would always tell me is you do what you can with what you have from where you are. Right? If it takes 100 steps to get to the end result, you must and always will start with just taking one step, right? Okay, so continuing on, do not condition this awareness as yet. Just declare yourself to be and continue to do so until you are lost in the feeling of just being, faceless and formless. When this expansion of consciousness is attained, then within this formless deep of yourself, give form to the new conception by feeling yourself to be that which you desire to be. You will find within this deep of yourself all things to be divinely possible. Everything in the world which you can conceive of being is to you, within this present formless awareness, a most natural attainment. The invitation given us in the scripture is to be absent from the body and be present with the Lord. The body being your former conception of yourself, and the Lord your awareness of being. This is what is meant when Jesus said to Nicodemus, "Ye must be born again, for except ye be born again, ye cannot enter the kingdom of heaven." That is, except you leave behind you your present conception of yourself and assume the nature of the new birth, you will continue to out-picture your present limitations. Absolutely. I just got to say, I love that. Neville talked about God became man, so man may become God. Now, and he's saying that here in this Bible verse, and my personal belief is that we are children of God. Yes, we are gods. We're not the God. I'm not the God. I did not create myself, but I have the power to create from God within me. And to whatever level or degree I have that and develop that, etc. And one thing I was thinking about as well earlier was that, you've heard that expression, too much is given, much is expected. And one of the things that I personally, when I began this journey and applying Neville's teachings into my life, is that I didn't realize that with, being able to manifest and create all these things, that there also came with it more duties and responsibilities. It's not just all, let me manifest everything I want. Okay, well, we have to be accountable for more. The more we have, the more we create. I mean, the more responsibilities that come with it. So I really don't hear any teachers or gurus or coaches talk about that other side of it. Like, when you tap into this power, there's a lot of business that comes with it. There's a lot of like management, okay, I would say, if I can use that word, management, and just responsibility that comes with it. So there's a cost and there's a price to pay for unlocking all this power. Okay, all right, continuing on. The only way to change your expressions of life is to change your consciousness. For consciousness is the reality that eternally solidifies itself in the things round about you. Man's world, in its every detail, is his consciousness outpictured. You can no more change your environment or world by destroying things than you can your reflection by destroying the mirror. Your environment and all within it reflects that which you are in consciousness. And as long as you continue to be that in consciousness, so long will you continue to outpicture it in your world. Okay, so if that didn't make sense real simply, it's just that, he's saying that that our world mirrors back to us our own state of consciousness. And so we can never outperform or outpicture what we are conscious of or not conscious of being. And so that's good news and bad news, but it's just the way of the law that you get the point. All right, so knowing this, begin to revalue yourself. Man has placed too little value upon himself. In the book of Numbers, you will read, "In that day there were giants in the land, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and we were in their sight as grasshoppers." This does not mean a time in the dim past when man had the stature of giants. Today is the day, the eternal now, when conditions round about you have attained the appearance of giants, such as unemployed, the armies of your enemy, your problems, and all things that seem to threaten you. Those are the giants that make you feel yourself to be a grasshopper. But you are told you were first in your own sight a grasshopper, and because of this, you were to the giants a grasshopper. In other words, you can only be to others what you are first to yourself. Therefore, to revalue yourself and begin to feel yourself to be the giant, a center of power, is to dwarf these former giants and make of them grasshoppers. All the inhabitants of the earth are as nothing, and he doeth according to his will in the armies of heaven and among all the inhabitants of the earth. And none can stay his hand, nor say unto him, What doest thou? This being spoken of is not the orthodox God sitting in space, but the one and only God, the everlasting Father, your awareness of being. So awake to the power that you are, not as man, but as your true self, a faceless, formless awareness, and free yourself from your self-imposed prison. I am the good shepherd, and know my sheep, and am known of mine. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they will follow me. Awareness is the good shepherd. What I am aware of being is the sheep that follow me. So good a shepherd's is your awareness that it has never lost one of the sheep that you are aware of being. I am a voice calling in the wilderness of human confusion, for such as I am aware of being, and never shall there come a time when that which I am convinced that I am shall fail to find me. I am is an open door for all that I am to enter. Your awareness of being is Lord and shepherd of your life. So, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want, is seen in its true light now to be your consciousness. You could never be in want of proof or lack the evidence of that which you are aware of being. This is being true. Why not become aware of being great, God-loving, wealthy, healthy, and all attributes that you admire? It is just as easy to possess the consciousness of these qualities as it is to possess their opposites. For you have not your present consciousness because of your world. On the contrary, your world is what it is because of your present consciousness. Simple, is it not? Too simple, in fact, for the wisdom of man that tries to complicate everything. Paul said of this principle, it is to the Greeks, or wisdom of this world, foolishness, and to the Jews, or those who look for signs, a stumbling block, with the result that man continues to walk in darkness rather than awaken to the being that he is. Man has so long worshipped the images of his own making that at first he finds this revelation blasphemous, since it spells death to all his previous beliefs in a God apart from himself. But one thing I just want to say about this is in the previous paragraph, so Neville's saying that your present present consciousness, we think is because of our world, and on the contrary, your world is what it is because of your present consciousness. That's kind of like that silly question, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Well, we certainly are conditioned from our inception to think and act like the people around us, our family, and whoever's around us, in our adolescence, and so we pick up their behaviors and mental frequencies, emotions. So there's something to say for that. But this is taking ultimate responsibility or accountability for one's life, this perspective, and saying, okay, yeah, even though what I just said is true to a degree, we are so powerful that we can create the life we want and the world we want. So we can't use that as an excuse, just our upbringing and whatever happened or didn't happen, trauma, etc. I'm not discounting all that, but truly from this moment, it is absolutely powerful what he is saying, that if we stand in right at this moment, being the thing, embodying that which we desire and what we are aiming for, that staying true to that and staying consistent with that is really all we need. And it's so simple, but like he says here, it's so simple, but man tries to complicate everything and explain everything. And so we just have to let that go. I mean, truly. So this revelation will bring the knowledge that I and my Father are one, but my Father is greater than I. You are one with your present conception of yourself, but you are greater than that which you are at present aware of being. Before man can attempt to transform his world, he must first lay the foundation, I am the Lord. That is, man's awareness, his consciousness of being is God. Until this is firmly established so that no suggestion or argument put forward by others can shake it, he will find himself returning to the slavery of his former beliefs. Okay, one thing I want to say about this real quickly is just that some people have a real problem with that type of statement, I am the Lord, or I am God, because they're automatically threatened by that, like it's a power play. And I absolutely know Neville what he's intending to say here is that I'm not God, I'm not the God, and I'm not your God. I am a God. I am a child of God, and therefore I have the qualities and characteristics of God. I'm created in his image, but I'm not your God. And by me accepting this power and using this power, it doesn't mean that, it's not to imply that I'm overpowering you or taking away your power, right? And this is not a power struggle. So some people I know have a problem with this, and that is what it is. But Neville is not saying that, he is the Lord over anyone else. And so please understand that this is what he means. You are the Lord of your life, okay, over your experience. You have dominion over your experience, and that's it. And somehow each of us taking dominion over our experience in our life works. Okay, so continuing on. If ye believe not that I am he, ye shall die in your sins. That is, you shall continue to be confused and thwarted until you can find the cause of your confusion. When you have lifted up the Son of Man, then shall you know that I am he. That is, that I, John Smith, do nothing of myself but my Father, or that state of consciousness which I am now one with does the works. When this is realized, every urge and desire that springs within you shall find expression in your world. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and sup with him, and he with me. The I knocking at the door is the urge. The door is your consciousness. To open the door is to become one with that which is knocking by feeling oneself to be the thing desired. To feel one's desire as impossible is to shut the door or deny this urge expression. To rise in consciousness to the naturalness of the thing felt is to swing wide the door and invite this one into embodiment. That is why it is constantly recorded that Jesus left the world of manifestation and ascended unto his Father. Jesus, as you and I found all things impossible to Jesus as man. Wait, let me say that again. Jesus, as you and I found all things impossible to Jesus as man, but having discovered his Father to be the state of consciousness of the thing desired, he but left behind him the Jesus consciousness, and rose in consciousness to that state desired, and stood upon it until he became one with it. As he made himself one with that, he became that in expression. This is Jesus' simple message to man. Men are but garments that the impersonal being I am, the presence that men call God, dwells in. Each garment has certain limitations. In order to transcend these limitations and give expression to that which, as man, John Smith, you find yourself incapable of doing, you take your attention away from your present limitations, or John Smith conception of yourself, and merge yourself in the feeling of being that which you desire. Thank you.